Have you ever missed a perfect shot because you just froze? A bird flies by or the light changes and suddenly your mind goes blank? You're struggling with dials, trying to remember, was it faster shutter speed, low aperture? What's my ISO supposed to be? Hi, I'm Barry from Photographer's Freedom. I simplify DSLR and mirrorless photography. Today I'm going to stop you from guessing. I'm giving you 7 specific camera settings shortcuts for some of the most common nature shots you'll face. Now you can try to memorize all these numbers or you can take notes, but honestly it's hard to read a notebook when you're out in the field in the rain, so I've actually done the work for you. I've put all these shortcuts plus a few extra into printable nature photography cheat cards that fit right in your pocket. If you want to grab that now and follow along, the link is at the top of the description below. But whether you grab the cheat cards or not, let's break down exactly why these settings work, starting with shortcut number 1 for sunny landscapes. The goal here is sharpness from foreground to background. Firstly, you want to be in manual mode for this. Your aperture needs to be set between f8 and f11. This is the sweet spot for most lenses. It will ensure you get everything in focus from the foreground all the way to the background. Keep your ISO at 100 for the cleanest possible image. Your shutter speed wants to be around 1/125th of a second for handhold shots. You can use slower shutter speeds if you have your camera on a tripod or your camera has image stabilization. Pro tip, don't be tempted to go to f22 or beyond. You might think it gives you more depth of field, but it actually makes your image softer due to something called diffraction. Stick to between f8 and f11. You want that silky smooth water look. For this, a tripod is non-negotiable. You want to be in manual mode for this. Close your aperture down to between f11 and f16 to block out as much light as possible. Your ISO needs to be set to its lowest value, which is 100 on most cameras. In regards to shutter speed, you want to slow it down to between half a second and 2 seconds. If you can get a decent exposure using shutter speed slower than 2 seconds, use it. The slower your shutter speed, the silkier the water will look. Pro tip, if you dial these settings in and your photo is totally white, there's too much light in the scene. You either need an ND filter or you need to wait for a time when there's less light. This is all about freezing the action. Speed is your priority. Firstly, you want to be in manual mode. Your shutter speed, set this to 1/1500th of a second minimum. Depending on the speed of the bird, the steadiness of your hands and the focal length of your lens, you may need to start with shutter speeds upwards of 1/2500th of a second. I shoot bird photography with a 200 to 600mm lens, and I find when I shoot at 600mm, I need to start at 1/2500th of a second to freeze the action. Faster is always better. Your aperture set to between f5.6 and f8. Of course, this will depend on the aperture range of your lens. But we want a little bit of depth of field here to get the entire bird in focus. There will be times when you need to use an aperture wider than f5.6 to get enough light into the camera. If your lens is capable of apertures wider than f5.6, by all means use them. Your ISO, just set this to auto. Pro tip, let the camera decide the ISO. Your ISO values are going to be fairly high to enable you to use such fast shutter speeds, but a noisy, grainy photo of a sharp bird is usable. Also, having the ISO set to auto gives you one less thing to think about. Also, make sure your focus mode is AFC for Nikon or Sony, or AI Servo for Canon. When the light drops, we need stability. Put the camera on a tripod. Excuse the change of location, but the sun came out and I had to get in here under the shade because it's so hot today. Where were we? So for this, you want to be in manual mode. Set your dial to M. Your shutter, you want to set this to f8 for that nice depth of field. Your ISO, bump it up to between 400 and 800 because you're in the low light situation. Your shutter speed will be long, anywhere between 2 and 10 seconds. Pro tip, use the 2-second timer on your camera. Even the tiny movement of your finger pressing the shutter button can shake the camera and ruin a long exposure. When you get this close, your depth of field shrinks dramatically. Here again, we want to be in manual mode. Your aperture, set this between f8 and f11 to give you that little bit more depth of field. Your shutter speed will be around 1/250th of a second. Any movement when you're zoomed in this tight looks huge. If you're photographing indoors or in a calmer environment, you can use much slower shutter speeds. Your ISO, adjust it as needed, but it will usually be around 400. It depends on how much light you have. Pro tip, when you get this close, your depth of field shrinks dramatically. Use manual focus. You may need to take multiple shots, adjusting the focus by tiny amounts each time and stacking those images together in post-processing in order to get the whole subject in focus. We want to enhance that beautiful glow of golden hour. You guessed it, we're going to be in manual mode, so turn that dial to M. For your aperture, standard landscape settings apply, set it to f8. Your ISO you want on its lowest setting, which is 100 for most cameras. Your shutter speed you will adjust for correct exposure or to create an effect such as that silky water look. The secret sauce, change your white balance to shade or cloudy. Pro tip, your camera's auto white balance setting may try to fix the orange light by making it blue. Changing your white balance to shade or cloudy tells the camera to keep those warm golden tones. This is a tricky one. The camera sees the bright sun and tries to make the photo dark. We're taking a little holiday from manual mode for this one. Turn your dial to aperture priority. You then want to set the aperture to f11. This is great for getting a sun star. We're going to control the exposure with exposure compensation. Dial this up to +0.7 or +1. Pro tip, by overexposing slightly, you stop the trees from turning into pure black silhouettes and keep some detail in the bark. Finding the right balance between overexposed sun and underexposed trees might take some experimentation. Watch your histogram and adjust your exposure compensation accordingly. Now that was a lot of numbers, and when the action's happening right in front of you, you may not remember what settings to use. That's why I created these nature photography cheat cards. They're a downloadable PDF pack featuring these exact shortcuts plus a few bonus ones. They contain helpful tips, troubleshooting sections and QR codes linking to videos with more detailed information. So you want to know how to take good photos of birds? Don't forget, you also get 3 bonus cheat cards for taking great photos of the moon, foggy mornings and lightning. Print them, cut them out, fold them, laminate them, punch a hole somewhere, attach a carabiner and hang them on your camera bag. The next time you're out in the field, you just pull out the card for birds in flight or moving water or whatever, and you're good to go. It's peace of mind for less than the price of lunch. You can grab your copy from the link in the description below. If you want more information about basic camera settings, check out my photography tips and tricks for beginners playlist. You're bound to find something in there that will help you understand camera settings better. Until next time, I'm Barry from Photographer's Freedom. Get out there, take some wicked shots. I'll see you soon. I'm going to go and cool off.